Hello and welcome back to another video. Now you might recognise this is the bridge, Barrows Bridge. I recently stood here ranting and raving, talking about houses that are going to be built in this area. It's really got me angry, upset. For years I felt alone in that thought process, but recently momentum has shifted. We seem to be getting somewhere, and I challenged Mike Amesbury to come and chat to me, and I didn't think anything of it. And he came to see me today. Isn't that amazing? So what follows is the interview that we did down the road here. Hope you enjoy it. Hope it answers a couple of your questions. It's to share this video, like it, subscribe to this channel for more updates, and get in touch with Mike Amesbury, with the housing development people, and to try and get this stopped. That wasn't me, by the way. We've only got to the 31st of this month, and to put pressure on the people in charge of it. And as Mike would say, enough is enough. So let's get into the interview. See you in a bit. Hello Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, it's a wonderful sunny day, so couldn't be better.
I was just saying, I swam home from work yesterday. I was like, please don't, I want to meet Mike. So thank you for coming today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you along, and it's actually proved to me that you are dedicated not only to this cause but down to passionate causes. You are really, aren't you? Social causes.
I hope so. I mean, I was elected to represent the people of Weaver-vale,
Yeah.
and this immediate community, of course, in Runcorn and Daresbury and around Moor and everywhere else. So I do my best to be the voice locally.
Yes.
In the community, but very importantly in Parliament as well.
Yeah.
So
And you're Shadow Housing Minister.
that's right. Yeah, Shadow Housing Minister and the Member of Parliament for Weaver-vale.
So there's no one better to talk to than this, really, isn't it? You're the top cheese in this area.
I don't know about that, but
I mean, are you surprised about the outpouring of emotion and support you're getting about this place? I mean, look at it; it's beautiful. Yeah, it's going to get built on.
yeah, not surprised at all. Look, there was more than a drip, let's say, of emails and phone calls and letters, not only in regards to this proposed development here, but of course this comes on top of other developments around the Daresbury, the Moor, Mershaw area, over a number of years, and people refer to local plans, but when you speak to local people that should be shaping local plans, nobody seems to know about them. And of course, the current one's not even signed off. It's with the Secretary of State, Michael Gove, at the moment.
Oh, the Govester.
Yes.
The puppet, as we like to call him.
Yeah.
So you're talking about this particular development right here on this plot of land, or are you talking about, because there is Sandymoor Phase 2 as well, isn't there? How far along is that? Is that set in stone?
Yeah, look, I mean, I would always say nothing's set in stone. Obviously, the focus is here, and that's been the focus of the opposition from, it's not hundreds, but it's coming close to many more people voicing their concerns and individual letters.
Yes. How many have you had?
As well as, I mean, I've had I think around 600 letters. Right in saying that so far. Yeah. Which is, it's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
In what time frame has that happened? Has it been a recent thing, or has it been over?
In literally in a matter of just a few weeks.
That's fantastic.
And of course, all the traffic on social media and Facebook, I mentioned there, the phone calls and everything else, and the good work that you've been doing and others in the community. So
actually, while you've mentioned that, I want to thank Kelly Barhan, who set up the Facebook group, who I put my videos on, and it's become a massive thing. Oh, I'm getting attacked by a wasp. Lovely nature, isn't it? And obviously Rick Cotterill, who's been giving me all the information about what's been going on, not just here, but in Daresbury and stuff like that. I need to bring something more important up about the bridges. Yes. The bridge listing. I hear you've contacted Historic England. Is that right?
Yes, I mean, clearly they've been with us for some considerable while, in the days of the Manchester Ship Canal Company. Now it's Peel, of course.
Oh, Peel, yeah, I've heard about them.
Yes, and this is something in terms of our heritage.
Yes.
As well as our green and pleasant spaces, our back gardens. our recreational space, which will be more important than ever in terms of the COVID crisis. You know, people when that kind of escapism from the lockdown have got to be protected and preserved for future generations.
Totally agree. And I was only talking to someone the other day about how lockdown proved how important this area is. Not just this area, but any area, countryside, getting out for that hour a day for COVID.
Yes.
And people seem to have forgotten that in the last few months again, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, there was lots of hope and optimism, wasn't there? Saying we can't go back to how things were, and you know, unfortunately, a development like this suggests that actually we are.
Yeah.
You know, look, I'm a shadow housing minister, so I'm pro housing development, but it's the right houses in the right places and the right tenure. There's an affordability crisis.
Definitely.
if you look at, and you will know, whether it be people that are so-called first-time buyers or young families, but the houses that they propose to build here, well out of their reach.
Well, I've been given some information today saying between 300 and 900k at Daresbury.
Yes.
And they're not even classed as Holton; they're classed as Warrington. Is that true?
That's the marketing. I mean, it is a fact. Obviously, they are in Holton, the place.
Yeah.
But I've seen the marketing referring to Warrington.
So that's not fair, is it? We're losing our green space for Warrington.
Yes, I think there's some interesting marketing going there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the old kind of Warrington Holton.
Oh
thing.
no, I mean I love the old Warrington myself, but
yeah.
it's the thing of they're only over there and they're gaining, and they're like the village of Moor. They seem to be getting worried about their space around them getting filled up with houses, and they're losing that isolation a little bit, aren't they? Like we are here. Yes. I mean, is it selfish to want these places protected from development?
Absolutely not, because there's already been lots of development, and I can think of other places in my constituency, our community.
Yes.
In Holton Lee, around Shopping City, where there's lots of brown field areas that need regenerating.
Yeah.
This isn't regenerating.
No, this is just.
What we see behind us, this is actually vandalism of our green space. Regeneration is about building communities and dealing with that affordability crisis and creating those opportunities, whether they can around business, around commerce, the infrastructure. But actually, here, this is essential. It's essential recreation space. It's central agricultural space.
And what about the wildlife as well? Because the wildlife is it's probably the only place left that's untouched for wildlife to sort of grow and prosper, isn't it?
I mean, you're right. As we kind of march towards COP26, where our government is seemingly leading the charge while cancelling billions of pounds for retrofitting houses and everything else. But and here we are, concreting over green pleasant spaces.
Well, I mentioned that on the video. I was down at the bridge and I was like, what else can we do in Runcorn to supply and demand housing stock when we've got this last bit left? Can we not preserve it? Is that selfish?
I've not at all, because actually, as I pointed out, we've got areas in our very constituency that need regenerating, that need affordable housing.
What's affordable housing to you? Is it anything under 100k or 150?
I'd suggest very strongly it's not 300,000.
Oh yeah, I'd suggest that. I'd second that motion. Say aye.
Yes, in the north of England.
Yeah.
Far from it, and the word affordability by the likes of the government and essentially their agency, who are Homes England. Again, I mean they've vandalised that very term affordability, haven't they? The class, I think, is 80% market rent, and well, it's ridiculous.
It always seems to be like affordability on their terms. So essentially, what's affordable is on their terms, and then they go, right, we'll just make a bit of profit on top of that. It's like now, I mean, the whole housing stock. Where I live right now, I pay private rent to live around here.
Yes.
And that's because I couldn't get social housing.
Yes.
I have to pay through the nose to.
So we've got people who are waiting, years and years for social housing.
Yes.
Social rent. It's a good quality housing. And yet the focus of the government agency and the government is to build on land such as this.
And why is that? Why? I mean, let's strip it back to local a minute. What's Holton Council doing about this? What's their view on losing this green belt? Because it seems to me that they always seem to build on things that don't need to be built on. It always seems to be inappropriate.
Yeah, there's lots of pressure on local authorities via central government who set targets.
Yeah.
For housing and for local government to meet those targets, but it's building those, isn't it, in the appropriate places. Building on green space such as this, of course, the land doesn't need to be remediated.
What does that mean for layman's terms?
Yeah, sorry. It's, so, for example, if there's an element of pollution, it's former chemical works, or maybe further up the road, for example, where they are going to do some development, where you'll see the cooling towers at the moment. That's brownfield land.
Yes.
You know, but it will be more costly to remediate, regenerate. But that's the right approach. That's the right
totally
approach.
agree.
Whereas this, it's an easy win, isn't it, for the major developers, usually the big six, for the dividends to the shareholders, the rest of it, maximising the profits. And there's interesting links, of course, between the governing party. People can go on the Electoral Commission website and check this, not just listen to a Labour politician. And the governing party, the Conservative Party. The big developers donate to the Conservative Party. You know, and we've got interesting reforms at the moment around planning, which we're calling a developers charter.
Yeah.
We've already got a developers charter. You know, we're local voices. Yeah, I happen to be an MP or a local resident, very important. We've got, you know, lots of people that are with us, and we're saying our local plan is not to have this here.
Yeah,
and
yet
we're being told the local plan says something else.
Yeah.
A historical one, by the way, because the current one's not signed off.
I know.
Yes.
I mean, I've been walking around Sandymoor and Daresby for years, and I've always seen a couple of signs here and there, and it sort of passes you by, doesn't it? And you go, I can live with Sandymoor coming so far this way. But do you think the Sandymoor development has gone too far as well?
Well, I think we're now in full stop territory, aren't we, here? And then look elsewhere. And I say look elsewhere in the constituency. And again, brownfield first. And, you know, I've pointed to where that could happen.
Yeah. And what is it now? 36% Holton is Greenbelt. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And it's been reduced to what?
I'm not sure of the
I'm sure it's 25 to 20%, and that means 36% is low enough, isn't it?
It is. And, you know, Greenbelt was derived in the first place post-war, and that was to ensure we didn't have urban sprawl. And actually, you know, people are heroes in terms of that generation.
Yeah.
Had somewhere, you know, space where it was their own very back garden, wasn't it?
Well, Runcorn as a new town emphasised that as a development moving forward. I mean, I didn't particularly agree with how they approached it, but they always seemed to emphasise a need for a green space in the middle of town, recreation, shopping, and then they didn't go as far as sort of this, did they? They didn't want to.
Yes. And now there's that focus on, you know, interesting targets around house building, but the wrong kind of tenure, out of the reach of a lot of local people, not affordable and built in the wrong places.
Yeah.
So I would encourage everyone, and there's many already doing this, but everybody to have their say and raise their objection.
Well, do you think that them extending that consultation period was like blood in the water a little bit? They're a little bit nervous about the outpouring of it.
That's clearly the case, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be, doesn't it? And I'm really proud of my part in that, as are you. And because I did get upset, angry that there was nothing I could say and do, and I felt like I was on my own with this thought process. I thought I was being selfish, you know. And then I saw groups popping up, then you, in this very spot on your last video, and it made me feel optimistic that we could do something. But what can we do now?
Well, I mean, First and foremost, the deadline's extended to October the 31st. So, you know, write in, have your say.
Yeah.
I know lots of people engage with the Facebook groups and everything else. It's very important that they have the say.
Well, my emphasis is getting out and showing your support and not just saying it, not signing petitions. I don't think that's. I think petitions help, but I think they need to get out and show the amount of disdain they've got for this, because, I mean, my video down there got a lot of attention and I didn't think it would.
Yes.
I thought it'd just get 30, whatever.
And clearly
500.
I was one of the viewers as well.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing. I mean, people just don't know they're a part of the majority that don't like it until they get out there and support it. What else? What are you doing now in terms of support? Are you starting petitions? Are you raising it in Parliament? What's your look now?
Yes, look, I've obviously clearly raised it with
exactly.
with Homes England, certainly in terms of the council with the chief executive there, leading executive members. Certainly, we'll raise it with the Secretary of State, the new Secretary of State.
Yeah. Pinch him as well if you can.
Michael Gove, and others really, and others, and just keep being that voice, that loud voice for the local community.
And what's your ideal scenario in this? I mean, my ideal scenario is to get it protected and not built on ever again. What's your thoughts?
I mean, that would be fantastic if we can achieve that, and we've just got to try our best, haven't we?
Is there any way we can list it? I mean, like you said about the bridges, is there any way we could get this? I know, because it's not really private, it's private land, isn't it? But is there any way we could take it back into ownership of the council or do something with it?
Well, I mean, it's been purchased by Homes England, which is a government agency. So it's public land.
Oh, it's public land. Oh, there I've got fake news.
I don't say it says private land. Yes, but well, it's not.
There is options there then. Yeah.
Belongs to a government agent. Look, we've just got to collectively raise our voices.
Yeah.
Again, we're saying, look, enough is enough in terms of the amount of development that's gone on in this area, and now it's about actually, as part of building and protecting communities, having that green space protected, and developing elsewhere on brownfield. So it's not being NIMBY. Not being NIMBY at all.
Not in my backyard, Sonny Jim.
No, it's not. It's not. Actually, in terms of the backyard, yes, there are plenty of areas that need regenerating. Might be a bit more difficult to do and a bit more costly initially, but that's where the focus has got to be.
Well, it's nothing good comes easy, does it? It all comes with slog. I mean, the one thing that I always disliked about runcorn is it has a reactionary approach to stuff. It always seems to pull down old buildings like the Scala building without redeveloping it, or not looking after the castle. The castle's overgrown at the moment. There seems to be lack of emphasis on giving runcorn its identity, its self-worth. I mean, what do you believe about that? Do you think that's runcorn needs to protect its legacy?
No, I think it's been very challenging over the last 11 years in terms of, the very fact that 40% worth of cuts in terms of austerity, and Holton has been particularly hard hit.
Yeah.
And it is overall it's an area of high deprivation.
Yeah.
And the focus is acted to be children and families and adults in particular, most in need. That's the pressure. Not only this local authority, but actually more than a lot. Actually, just because of the very nature of the area. So people are trying to do the best firefighting, and it's really, really difficult. Like you say, you refer to a number of buildings, whether that's Holton Castle, which is a neighbouring constituency, Derrick's constituency. People are really trying to do their utmost in difficult times. But you're right. Look, actually, in better times and collectively together, then we do need to look after our heritage and our green spaces better.
Yeah, because runcorn has got a lot going for it, and it always has, and I've always been very protective when someone slags it off or says, oh, it's full of... But then you look at so much potential we've got with canal space, walks, buildings, like historic buildings, and it always feels like we never promote that enough, and look at the environmentalists, Extinction Rebellion and that, they're not coming out here to say don't build on Greenbelt, are they? They're not helping that.
Yeah, but the local residents and local community are doing that, aren't they now? And I think it's that engagement all year round, really, and actually start being a little bit louder all year round as well.
Yeah.
You know, with the powers that be, despite the limitations. I mean, do it appropriately. You know,
Well, I'm not gonna bang out on someone's window or anything like that, but it's like writing to people like yourself, or writing to the people who are doing this.
Yeah.
It's little things like that. You know, enough of us do it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's one of those, isn't it? I mean, people have clearly written to me, emailed me, written to me, been on Facebook, social media. Phone,
Do you sleep?
Phone my office, phone staff and everybody else, and it's that you know wakes up members of Parliament and others, I would hope, and say, look, actually, this is what my constituents, my residents are saying.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you still enjoy it, by the way? Because it's on my channel. I tend to interview people who are trying to aspire, and you're top of your game. So do you still enjoy it? Do you still like what you do?
I mean, being a member of Parliament and representing this local community, you spoke about all the fantastic things about it.
Yeah.
Is a great honour, and as long as people want me, yeah, because of course.
Well, they voted for you, haven't they?
People can sack me in elections, of course, and then yeah, I'm happy and I'm honoured to represent the patch.
People always say to me, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, I don't think I could persist with the amount of negativity, positivity, and there's so much going on in your life, and it must be unbearable when you've got people like me going, "What are you going to do about this?"
Yeah, well, that's the thing about public service. So you know, you put your head above the parapet, don't you? And if people don't want you, you'll know about it. If you're not getting things right, you'll know about it. And you're right. It's sometimes never
a dull moment, I suppose.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll just never please anyone.
Well, let's circle back. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to get this point across about the bridges.
Yeah.
I care a lot about those bridges, and I know a lot of people do. How far along are we in trying to get that listed, or any? I'd like them all listed and protected.
Yeah, well, I need to come back to you about that. Of course, we've just raised that, and it's I think I've said what I believe needs to happen is that they're historical bridges. They need to be preserved for generations to come.
Yeah.
And we're at the start of that journey, aren't we? Really?
There's been photos taken on bridges of HGVs going across and heavy loads being put on them, and I really do fear that one of them's going to be broke beyond repair.
Yes, I mean, it could well happen. So it's important that actually, you know, that I mean, I've followed it through via writing to the appropriate agencies and more, and so have you.
Yeah.
But it's up to the community to do the same. And
I'll be talking to the Green MP for this area. Oh, what's his name now?
Councillor, yes.
Councillor, that's it. Yeah. I talk quite Dyer or something.
I mean, I encourage. I've certainly met up with him, and had quite a constructive meeting. Of course, we share.
Yeah,
I've seen
constituency
base, don't we? Of course. And I'd encourage people to speak to others as well.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to get some sort of publicity for this area, get people out here en masse, get photographs, get that posted up the right way up, and just get campaigning going. We've got how many weeks left until the consultation ends? Make as much noise.
Yeah, it's a number of weeks. It's October the 31st, isn't it?
So actually Halloween. Scare the crap out of them. But Mike, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you for your time and everything you're doing. Yes.
Oh, thank you. I will shake your hand, but we're probably COVID. So here we go. Yeah. Live long and prosper, sir.
Well, we can do this.
Oh, there we go. So thank you very much. See you later.